There was a moment where that whole line of what it means to be in family, and whether that's my own personal family or the human family, where there are patterns that have been carried through my family, that I'm definitely still living out some of those patterns. Some of them are very life-giving and some of them are not. Some of them are related to the big topics, my white skin, my money, being a woman. And what I began to see is that in my children and the young people that are around me is that some of those same things that have been so difficult for me and were difficult for my grandmothers are being played out in the next generation. And also how we treat the earth. It's one thing to walk on this earth focused on what really is okay for me right now. And there's another thing, what does it mean that this same earth needs to sustain people generations down the road? It makes a difference how I live. So my real impetus in writing Big Topics at Midnight was if there's going to be change in the world, the change has to start with me. And of course, I think of people of my generation. So how we can learn how to stand differently in our own skin and in relationship to each other, I believe can shift things for generations to come. The reason I told my own story was because I wasn't interested in lecturing about the issue of race or the issue of class. I really was interested in exploring what it was like for one person. So that's me. The only story I could really tell was mine. I don't know what it's like for you or for anyone else. I told my story as transparently as I could, and also I tried to write it in the sight that I had as I chronologically moved through my life. So it was tough to write in the perspective of what I had as a child or a young adult, knowing what I know now, but that was really what my sight was then, and not to demonize myself as I began to wake up and then how I needed to change. So my hope was, if I could tell my story as the process of my own awakening, it isn't the story of the right way to wake up, it's just my story of how I woke up. My hope is that there'll be points in my story that will remind you of your story. Then it will help support you in your process, which then can get in conversation with someone else who's in the process of waking up. Because I really believe that if we're willing to wake up and not collapse into shame or regret or all that kind of stuff, not that I didn't go through that, but to really begin to bring into alignment who I know and want to be in myself with what I've just learned about the world or some of my own behaviors or assumptions or whatever, if I can bring those into alignment and we can do that together, I believe that can change the world.